Again, good day everyone. To continue the discussion, here is another notable work under the New Republic entitled Without Seeing the Dawn, written by Stephen Juveliana. In this discussion, here are the objectives. First, discuss the story according to its elements. Second, narrate the important events in the story through photographs. And third, determine the flashback element in the story. Before we analyze the story, let us first be acquainted with the author named Stephen Jubeliana. He was born in 1918 in Iloilo. He was a Filipino novelist and short story writer in the English language, and he fought as a guerrilla during the Japanese invasion of the Philippines. And the term guerrilla means he is a member of a small independent group taking part in irregular fighting, typically it against the larger forces like the government forces. So, after the World War II, he graduated from the University of the Philippines College of Law in 1948. He stayed in the United States but died in La Paz in Iloilo City at the age of 59 in the year of 1977. So he was the author of the best-selling war novel in the United States and here in Manila, which is entitled Without Seeing the Dawn. In the United States, the novel is published under by Little Brown and Company in Boston in 1947 and here in Manila by Alamers Phoenix in 1976. So Without Seeing the Dawn, also known as The Lost Ones, is his only novel. The same novel was made into a filmmaker and director Lino Broca under the title Santiago, which starred the Filipino actor and later presidential candidate Fernando Poe Jr. and Filipino actress Hilda Coronel. It was also made into a miniseries film for Philippine television. So, Without Seeing the Dawn is not just stayed as a best-selling war novel, it is also became a film and a miniseries film in the Philippines. And now down to the comprehensive questions which will help us to understand and take note of important details of the story. First question, what is the name of child of Lucia and Ricardo? Second, what is the main reason why his father and his son was died? And third, who is the author of the story? Fourth, Without Seeing the Dawn set in a small farming village called, what is the name of that specific place? Okay, and fifth is, who is the father of Ricardo? And here are some facts about Without Seeing the Dawn. The title is derived from one of Jose Rizal's character in the Spanish language novel, Noli Me Tangere or Touch Me Not. It's a 368-page book that has two parts, namely day and night. The first part, which is the day, it narrates the story of a pre-war barrio and its people in the Panay Island, particularly in Iloilo. And the second part is night. It begins with the start of World War II in both the US and the Philippines and retells the story of the resistance movements against the occupying Japanese military forces of the Barrio people first seen in the first part, which is the day. I prepared a short video for the summary of the story for us to comprehend the aesthetic beauty of one of our literature under the New Republic, presenting Without Seeing the Dawn. Without Seeing the Dawn by Stephen Jubeliana. In a small farming village called Manhayang in Santa Barbara, Iloilo, the residents living there simple life when the violence of war reached their place and brought deaths and sufferings. Ricardos, also called Carding, the young son of Juan Suerte, wanted to marry Lucia, the daughter of the Teniente del Barrio. He consented to asking Lucia's hand from her parents in the traditional way called pamamanhikan. It is accompanied by the village best orator and the godmother of the last. Carding built a house for him and his wife on the land that was entrusted to Tatay Juan by Don Diego, despite the advice of the elderly that building a house in May will bring misfortune, which soon after misfortune struck them, yet the first child was still born. But Lucia had an affair and disgraced herself by the temptation of a house guest named Luis. The couple patched things up. The land that Carding and Juan Suerte had been tilling for a very long time was given to another tenant. The couple went to Iloilo, where Carding met fellow stevedore and union member named Nestong and Rusing, also a prostitute besotted with him, which is the reason why his wife left him. Carding followed Lucia with the news that the representante entrusted them with a land to till in Badlan, and Lusing too had news for her husband that she was pregnant. They named their son Crisostomo. Misfortune came again because their landlord sold the land they were tilling. A flood destroyed their harvest and killed their carabao. Then they went to Mindanao to find a land. However, Carding drafted from military service, and upon his return, Lucia was pregnant, but his father and their son died. At first, he was not told the truth, that the real reason why his father and son died was because they were killed by the Japanese soldiers and not by illness, and his wife was also raped by the Japanese occupiers. He was angered, and after knowing the truth, he became an enemy executioner. Because of Ricardo's behavior, Lucia sent him away. When the Japanese invaders ordered to go to a designated barrio to be identified as non-guerrillas, the Manhattan Island villagers evacuated the area except for Lucia, who wanted to wait for Carding, who would be leading the suicide attack to the Japanese garrison. When they met, Ricardo asked for Lucia's forgiveness, but later said farewell after giving Lucia some money. In the end, Lucia refused to plea, for she knew that she was still his wife, duty-bound to receive the corpse of her beloved husband. The end. I hope everyone did not get bored on my simple summary. To further identify the characters, let's discuss them one by one. First is Ricardo Suerte, or known as Carding, as an industrious, strong, and sometimes quick-tempered young man, the son of Juan Suerte, who helps his father to plow the land that they are tending to form for their landlord Don Diego. So Carding is a favored suitor of Lucia. Lucia, aka Lusing, the beautiful daughter of Teniente Paul. Teniente Paul is the Teniente del Barrio. Lucia holds the beauty title as Miss Barangay Fiesta, and she is Carding's sweetheart. Many young men admires Lucia, but Carding won her heart. Next is Juan Suerte, father of Carding. He is the one entrusted of the land by Don Diego. At first, he disagreed to the plan of Carding getting married because Tatay Juan wants Carding to finish his studies. Next is Teniente Paul, the barangay chief of Manhayang and the father of Lusing. And here are the themes for this story without seeing the dawn. First is the Filipinos' resistance and movements against the Japanese while they occupied the Philippines. Second, how the Filipinos lived before and during the invasion of the Japanese. And third, the Filipinos' constant search for love, justice, and freedom. And next is, here are the symbolism of the story. The day, it means that talking about a time of peace or happiness. Second, night, talking about a time of war, terror, and chaos. And third is the dawn. It means that new beginning, hope, and freedom. And cow, wedding is prepared grandiosely. Next is gun. It meant to revenge or having war. And next is genitals. It means manhood or identity. And last is pair of shoes. It means that Carding's loyalty, whom he gives importance. And next is the setting of the story. The story was happened in the suburbs of Iloilo, a barrio named Manhayang in the town of Santa Barbara. The place is Manhayang, Santa Barbara, Iloilo City. The time, World War II, Japanese invasion. And day, it means that pre-Japanese War, and night is during World War II. And last, the conflict in the story. First is man versus man, like in the summary conflict between Carding and Luis. And next is man versus society. This entails in Carding's enraged anger at the Japanese soldiers that had led him to an assault on the Japanese garrison. And that's it, class. I hope you have learned something from my discussion. Thank you for listening.